Russia attacked Ukraine on February 24, 2022, in what it called a special military operation. However, it was widely recognized as a full-scale invasion. NATO expansion fears. Russia has long opposed the expansion of NATO, a Western military alliance, toward its borders. Ukraine's growing ties with NATO made Russia feel threatened, fearing NATO military presence close to Russia. Control over Ukraine. Russia sees Ukraine as part of its historical and cultural sphere. Losing Ukraine to the West, through alliances like the EU or NATO, weakens Russian influence in Eastern Europe. Annexation of Crimea, 2014. In 2014, Russia annexed Crimea from Ukraine. This caused tensions. Ukraine tried to strengthen its ties with the West after that, which further angered Russia. Russian claims of protecting Russian speakers. Russia claimed it needed to protect Russian-speaking populations in eastern Ukraine, like in Donetsk and Luhansk. But many saw this as an excuse to justify invasion. Desire to rebuild Russian power. President Vladimir Putin has expressed interest in restoring Russia's global power and influence, and Ukraine is seen as a key piece in that ambition. As of June 2025, the Russia-Ukraine war remains active, with both nations engaged in significant military operations and limited progress in peace negotiations. Recent developments. Ukrainian drone offensive. On June 1, Ukraine launched Operation Spiderweb, deploying over 100 drones to strike Russian air bases hosting nuclear-capable bombers. This operation reportedly damaged at least 13 aircraft, including 8 Tu-95 bombers, and targeted facilities up to 8,000 kilometers away. Crimean Bridge attack. On June 3, Ukraine's Security Service, SBU, conducted an underwater sabotage operation on the Crimean Bridge, using 1,100 kilograms of explosives to damage key support pillars. The Marichka underwater drone is believed to have been used in this attack. Russian missile strikes. Russia continues to target Ukrainian regions. A recent missile attack on a training camp in Dnipropetrovsk killed 12 soldiers, leading President Zelensky to restructure the military leadership. Peace talks and diplomacy. Istanbul negotiations. On June 2, Russia and Ukraine held talks in Istanbul. While they agreed on prisoner exchanges, no ceasefire was achieved. Ukraine criticized Russia for not providing a clear peace proposal. U.S. involvement. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth skipped a recent Ukraine Defense Contact Group meeting, signaling decreased American involvement. This has raised concerns among NATO allies about the U.S.'s commitment to Ukraine. Territorial control and military movements. Russian advances. Russia has made gains in northeastern Ukraine, capturing the settlement of Andrivka near Sumy. Ukrainian forces are evacuating towns in response to Russia's summer offensive. Territorial occupation. Russia currently occupies approximately 18.6% of Ukraine, including Crimea and parts of Donetsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and Zaporizhia regions. The conflict shows no signs of immediate resolution. Ukraine continues to employ innovative tactics, such as drone warfare, to counter Russian advances. Meanwhile, Russia maintains pressure through missile strikes and territorial gains. Diplomatic efforts have yielded limited results, and the international community remains concerned about the prolonged nature of the war. Future of the Russia-Ukraine war if it doesn't stop. More death and destruction. Thousands more lives, soldiers and civilians, could be lost. Cities and infrastructure in Ukraine will face continued bombing and ruin. Reconstruction will be harder the longer the war lasts. Mass displacement and refugees. More Ukrainians will flee their homes. Neighboring countries will struggle to support millions of refugees. Families will be separated for generations. Global economic crisis. War affects oil, gas, and food prices around the world. Countries depending on Ukrainian wheat or Russian energy could face shortages. Inflation and economic instability could worsen worldwide. Larger war risk. If NATO or other powers get directly involved, it could escalate into a world war. Use of nuclear or advanced weapons becomes more likely the longer the war continues. Generational trauma. Both Russian and Ukrainian societies may face deep emotional scars. Children growing up in war will carry fear, hate, and trauma into adulthood. Isolation of Russia. Russia may become more isolated from the world, facing more sanctions and bans. The Russian economy will continue to weaken. New political unrest could rise inside Russia. Global division and military buildup. The world may split into pro-Russia versus pro-Ukraine blocs. More countries may increase military spending, fearing future wars. Final thought. If the war doesn't stop, the human cost will be enormous, and the global balance of power could shift dangerously. Peace is not just important for Ukraine and Russia, it's critical for the future of the entire world.